Today, you guys are in for a treat. I'm gonna show you a secret to getting an extra long life out of your vintage combustion engine. The combustion engine, I realize, is a bit outdated, but it will last significantly longer than those new EV vehicles you see driving everywhere if you know this trick. And this trick is something you can't do with an EV vehicle. It's not gonna work the same. But I can tell you, if you do exactly what I tell you to do in this video, you're gonna get a heck of a lot of mileage out of one of these bad boys. Now let me just show you something. I'm gonna take you inside this car for a second and I'm gonna show you something. All right guys, welcome to the inside. Welcome to the inside of the car here. I have to show you this because this is unbelievable. You won't get this out of one of those electric vehicles, I can tell you that right now. But if you see that, look at that. Look at that odometer. Those are some serious numbers. I'm not quite to a 500,000, but I'm getting pretty close. And I'm gonna tell you the secret to getting this many miles out of your car, because if you don't get this many miles out of your car and you've got an American-made Chevrolet, Ford, then you're doing something wrong. You should be able to easily get this type of mileage out of your car. And you know what the best part is about this type of mileage? Is that I have not had a car payment in years. That's right, all that money that you're paying towards your car payment each month, I don't pay. But I do have that many miles. And I'm gonna show you the trick with all of these old combustible engines that'll get you that many miles on a car. Okay, so some of you guys already know the secret that I'm about to reveal to everybody. If you know the secret, don't ruin the video. Just comment below, tell me what the secret is, give the video a thumbs up, and move on unless you find this entertaining. But I do want to keep it a secret, so just leave it in the comments below, keep your mouth shut. So this right here, every car should have this. Now some of the newer cars have a button. I'm not quite sure how that works if your battery goes dead. But I guess you could always call AAA, because if your battery is dead, the button doesn't work. But on these older cars, they have a lever right inside the door here. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna pull that lever. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna pop the hood of the car. All right, now we're starting to get somewhere. You see, this is how old my car is. Look at those headlights. All right, so this thing is still running like a champ. We just drove this. If you guys watch our channel, we drive this cross country, we pull campers with it, pop-up campers, but ooh, that's not good. Don't know what that's all about, but I drive this car everywhere. We drive it off-road. This thing runs like a champ, and you saw the odometer. You saw how many miles were on it. What you're gonna do after you pop the hood, and we're getting a little closer to the secret here, I want you to find where your oil cap is, loosen it and set it there, because if we need it to be loosened for what I'm about to show you, this is really, really important that you do this step. Okay, so this is really important. I need to show you something, but you gotta go underneath your car. Some of you suits are gonna have a hard time doing this. I completely understand. I was once there myself, but unless you wanna be driving a Tesla and only getting about 135, 150,000 miles before you have to replace your battery, I suggest you learn a little something about these vintage combustible engines. You know, I don't like climbing up under these things either. Let's see. Let's see where that is. That comes out the side there. That looks like what I'm looking for. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so, what you're gonna do is you're gonna look up underneath here towards the back of the engine right before it hits the transmission case, right? So right about here where my hand is going up, you're gonna look for a plug at the very, very bottom of the motor. So my plug kind of sticks out the side on this one. I'll show you guys sometime what it looks like on my pickup truck, because it goes a little different, but it's right in here. I don't think you guys can see it from that angle. This is the bottom of the motor, transfer case, motor. Now, whatever you do, don't try and unplug that drive axle that goes in between. Make sure you're on the bottom of the motor. I did that once and it was a disaster, but hey, my axle oil got changed, right? I believe they call that the front differential. All right, so then you're gonna need to find a socket that size. Oh, that works. So that is a 15. I always thought it was, well, who cares, it works, right? Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to open this thing up. So right clockwise tightens, counterclockwise or left loosens. Okay, so just what you want to do is just kind of loosen it. Okay, now I'm going to show you what the big secret is to getting so many miles out of a vehicle. Just pull that plug all the way out. Oh yeah, look at that. That is what they call black gold. And this, right here, this is the secret. Look at that, black gold. Oh, this is looking like chocolate right here. That's actually not a good thing. You don't want it to look like chocolate. That means that it's really bad. Really, really bad. Okay, so there's another part of this that I'm gonna have to show you, and then I'll show you how all this ties together, okay? All right, so don't lose this. Put this somewhere where you're not gonna lose it. All right, so for this next part that I'm gonna show you to this big secret, you're gonna have to climb in over on the other side. What you're gonna do is you're gonna look for something that looks like that, right there. That thing is called an oil filter. It's your black gold filter, right? Gotta keep the gold clean. It's not supposed to look like chocolate. And this is a special wrench to take that off. Of course, on this car, this style wrench is a royal pain in the butt. But that's all I have, so it will do. I'm gonna have to use 2 hands. Same thing though, clockwise tightens, counterclockwise loosens. And when you do this, boy, there's a lot of oil coming out of there. Oh. Oil is gonna wanna come out of the black gold filter, so make sure that you get on this side. Okay, we'll just let that all kind of drippity drip for a little bit. So by now, some of you have already probably figured out what my big secret is. But again, don't tell anybody, put it in the comments below, give it a thumbs up, move on, whatever. But please don't give away the secret just yet, because there are still people here who don't know the big secret. The next thing that I'm going to need you to do is put a new oil filter back in place where we just took out that old oil filter. Whatever you do at this stage, don't grab your oil and start pouring it into the motor, because remember, we haven't put the oil plug back in place yet. So then if you do that, you're just gonna be wasting a heck of a lot of oil and making a mess out of your driveway. I've done it before. I was once a suit too. All right. Now, before you put your oil filter back in place, and it goes right up there, just screws right in up there. But don't just screw this in. I'm gonna show you a little secret here real quick. What you wanna do is put a little bit of the old oil on your finger. If you can get some clean old oil. And you wanna try and just rub some of that oil around this seal. That will help make the seal. You don't have to put a lot on, just enough to kind of moisten it up a little bit. Because obviously once you get it on there, I mean, it's gonna get oil in there, but it's just something I like to do. Get a nice little sheen to it. And then reach up and screw it in. And I like to get these finger tight and then come back with my wrench and tighten it down with the wrench. You don't need to do a whole lot of tightening with these, with the oil filter wrench. You just need to maybe give it a couple quarter turns. Well, depending on how loose it still feels. I can't tell you how many times I have taken this into a place like Jiffy Lube or something, and I drive down the road and I've got oil coming out of my oil filter because they didn't put the oil filter on tight enough. And just for that exact reason, make sure you've got everything cleaned off and nothing's dripping, so that you can come in here after you've finished changing your oil and check it and make sure there's not any drips coming down this. Just wipe everything clean. Now, the next step is we're gonna come back over on the other side and we're gonna put our drain plug back in the bottom of the oil pan before we add any oil. Big deal. And make sure your threads are clean when you put these back in. You don't wanna make more problems for yourself. Just tighten that down. And again, clean off any oil drips because we want to make sure that that isn't dripping oil. So if you don't clean up your messes, you won't see if there's a problem later on. That was fun, wasn't it, guys? Climbing up underneath a car on rocks. Oh, I love having a rock gravel driveway. It feels good on the back. Before you guys move forward from here, I want you to do something. I want you to just pull your dipstick out. That's this. You'll have a dipstick for your transmission on some of these older combustion engines. Anyway, I don't know what they have on those electric ones, but just pull it out, dry it off, slip it back in, pull it back out, and make sure that stick is dry. Because I can tell you this, if you've gone through all of the steps that I just went through and there's oil still on that stick, you did something wrong. I've done it before. That's when I figured out that I had accidentally emptied out my drive axle. Of course, I was changing the oil in the dark, and it was years ago when I first got this car. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add fresh oil back to the car. It's pretty easy. So this is a 5.3 liter V8 Vortec motor. And I believe it calls for 6 quarts of oil. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour in about 5 quarts, and then I'm gonna start doing kind of like a check game, check the oil level. Now you'll notice that I'm using a plastic funnel from a local gas station. These funnels will keep you from pouring oil all over your motor, which is always a nasty mess. It'll start smoking when you turn the motor back on. I've actually had oil in my motor catch on fire before. That's why I replaced my truck engine. So that's 2. Here's the 3rd one. These things are super heavy. Just kidding. I'm actually just groaning because my back still hurts from crawling underneath the car. So that's 3. Okay, that's 5 out of 6 quarts. What I'm gonna do now is just pull my oil sticky And this will most likely say that it's about full right now. Pretty gosh darn close. It's got 4 out of 5 of the holes covered. So before you do your 6th quart of oil, what you're gonna wanna do is remove your funnel, put your oil cap on, and then just turn your motor on and let it idle for a minute or two. What that's gonna do is it's going to allow the oil to work its way through the motor and into the oil filter. And the oil filter is gonna hold some more oil and retain some more oil. And then we'll check it again and figure out how much more oil the car needs. Okay, now I'm just gonna recheck the oil and top off as needed with that 6th quart. All right, just had to let it settle down a little bit. What I do is put about a half a quart in and just pull it out, check it. Okay, I think I can do the last half of that quart pretty safely. Okay guys, so now you know my big secret. That's how you put so many miles on your car. You have to do this now every 3,000 miles or so, and at least once a month if you don't put that many miles on it. Some of you city folk don't really put miles on your car. Us country folk put a lot of miles on the car. But if you do that every 3,000 miles or every single month just to keep the oil fresh in your motor, you won't have a problem with these old combustion engines. They'll last you forever, unlike those EV motors that'll only run you for about 135, 150,000 miles before you have to replace the massive $5,000 battery. I mean, whew. But this is what gives you independence, the ability to work on your own car. Now, if you think about it, as they phase these combustion engines out, all the small mechanics across this country, all those small mechanic shops are also going to be phased out. And it's going to get to the point where the only way you can fix your car or work on your car or extend the life of your car would be to take it into a dealership. But even then, you're not going to be able to extend the life of your car. And so all of your money, once you get yourself into one of those vehicles, is going to be going towards supporting the big dealership and buying new vehicles constantly. This is something that you need to be aware of going forward. You could deal with something like this, something that you pack on a lot of miles, don't have a car payment on, and you can extend the life of it by learning your own mechanics, or you can get stuck owing money for the rest of your life and just paying up and paying up and paying up and paying up. That's the reality of it.